G'day, we're at UKT and this is a video summarising what we have learned over the past few weeks on Markstrat. Our team members are Anna, Mitch, Kelsey, Jared and Diana. Our initial strategy was to sell two products. We wanted to become a cost leader with our first sonite, Tone, targeted at savers. Topic would be our higher end product targeted at professionals. Understanding all of the features of Markstrat was arduous and reaching our target markets proved difficult. Even while using the semantic and multi-dimensional scaling models, it was hard to stay on top of changing consumer needs. What we learned about our initial strategy is that figuring out the exact consumer market and the exact product characteristic based on their wants is imperative. By creating a product they want in the beginning, we can spend less on making corrections through advertising and media, ultimately enabling us to spend more money in the Vodite market. Despite us thinking we were not going to go for the popular section of people, all the teams ended up fairly close together in the beginning, making it difficult to differentiate our product from competitors. We also should have asked for more help in the beginning, or spent more time going back and reading important parts of the manual. By doing that, we would have learned valuable information that would have been helpful to us in the beginning. While we all read it, it was quite extensive, making it difficult to pinpoint the exact information we were looking for. Also, while we thought we had allocated enough to research and development as well as advertising, we didn't. By spending more time investing in research, you can get to know your audience better and thus create a product that can be more competitive in the marketplace. We learned that the quality of the product produced in the first round is very important, since it sets the tone for brand perception that will continue in subsequent periods. We learned to stay on top of consumer needs because they are constantly evolving. The biggest lesson we learned was to spend more time revising the manual at every round. In the real world, this is congruent to knowing the workings of the industry and relying on the expert knowledge of department and industry veterans. No amount of venture capital matters if you haven't spent time learning how the market works. We also learned about first mover advantage. If we were late to enter the market, we were not able to gain a large market share from a consumer segment. Our beginning strategies would be a great example of what not to do. We did not pull out ahead, but instead we went to the bottom because we did not have a unique product that was positioned right for the market. An example of a company that did not differentiate themselves from a strong competitor was Borders bookstores, with Barnes & Nobles being a stronger competitor. They went for the same market and thus failed and are now out of business. Our strategy to go after savers, the low-income market, was not executed well. Our product was low priced, but still considered too inferior by the consumers. Unilever's laundry detergent Campero was aimed at the lowest income consumers, but was deemed too poor of quality even by that segment. Finally, like Circuit City, we did not stay on top of the changing attitudes of our consumer. If we were to continue playing, we would first look at demand forecasts and consumer market trends to identify the most profitable consumer segment that we need to target. We also need to invest more money and time into the distribution panel research. Topic was our best seller, but due to inventory mismanagement, we incurred inventory holding costs in one period, then stockouts in the next. A large part of Zara's success came from an ultra-quick and streamlined supply chain that made their fashion fast fashion and held down inventory costs. We would also try to learn more about our competitors' tactics by benchmarking their marketing expenditures, such as advertising and commercial expenditures. Initially, we didn't spend a lot of time looking sideways since other companies were targeting different consumer groups. Clearly, we could have tracked their other activities to better benchmark our tactics and launch products in a more timely manner to benefit from first mover advantages. We would also look into firing costs, as we had made dramatic changes in the commercial team without realizing the cost of letting workers go. Finally, we would start investing in R&D expenditures in the Vodites in advance and incrementally. We would also start to increase R&D expenditures. Although Motorola was a big name in the cell phone business, they failed to get ahead in the smartphone market, and they don't even sell phones anymore. Reaching target markets proved to be difficult. Our general strategy involved 3 steps. Firstly, focusing on semantic scales and multi-dimensional scaling. Each week, we would use the scales to determine the ideal product characteristics for shoppers and explorers. We would then compare their preferences to their perception of our brands. Secondly, production. We realized that the opportunity cost from lost sales was more often greater than inventory holding cost. Under the assumption that demand would increase, if we underproduced, we would produce double the difference. If we overproduced, we'd cut production by half of the difference. Finally, our spending strategy. Our goal was not to outspend the competition in advertising, R&D, or commercial team size. By investing in a lot of research and following closely our target segments, we helped to use precision in our spending. We learned that sometimes the changes made in the attitudes of segments can be dramatic. You have to constantly stay on top of their ideals. Even though generalities given the handbook are consistent, the extent can change. MTV can read general definitions about millennials, but if they don't understand how dynamic and changing that group can be, they will become irrelevant. We were also reminded that consumer perceptions were not always founded on reality. They were wrong about product attributes, but that doesn't matter. Their beliefs are your facts, and you have to deal with them. Multiple double-blind taste tests have been proven that people can't taste the difference between Pepsi and Coca-Cola, yet in the minds of consumers there is still a difference. Finally, we learned to continue revising the handbook. Free available information should be taken advantage of. Free resources for businesses include SBA.gov's Business Data and Statistics stage, the US Census Bureau, and Google Trends. The advertising aspect in Markstrat can be improved. The advertising option is very general since it features one overall budget and doesn't offer options of the type of advertisements and to which target audience. This would allow for more creativity. It is very valuable that the simulation guaranteed teamwork, since every decision was made as a team and everyone's ideals were incorporated into the final decision each week. In our future careers, Markstrat has taught us how to analyze financial and marketing data and choose to act upon the most relevant information. It is important to pay attention to all the details and be aware that every decision can have a drastic impact. We learned how to make decisions as a whole team and gained experience in working together towards a common goal.